We have two very eminent guests with us tonight. One a big winner and the other big loser. Denis Leary, to my left, is the loser, believe it or not. According to his bio, he is a 5-time loser at the Emmy Awards. He recently lost in the category of Best Supporting Actor in a Miniseries or Movie for his role in HBO's Recount. Denis has previously lost 4 times for Best Actor in a Drama and once for Best Writing in a Drama. These Emmy nominations emanating from his work on FX's critically acclaimed Rescue Me, which we'll talk about a lot tonight. He's lost a lot of other things, but we'll skip those. Terry Winter, to my right, is the creator, head writer, and executive producer of Boardwalk Empire, which has won a number of awards, including the Golden Globe for Best Television Series. The cast of Boardwalk Empire won the Screen Actors Guild Award. Steve Buscemi won the Screen Actors Guild Award. As many of you, I'm sure, know, he was one of the writers and executive producers of The Sopranos. And he's currently working on projects with Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio, Mick Jagger, and a variety of other...
Jesus Christ, what a show-off. I mean, come on.
We really are in an incredible moment for anti-heroes on television right now. And I wonder, is it because of Tony Soprano? Does it all stem from that incredible show? Can you guys trace it back further?
Yeah, because if their show, without making too big of a deal out of it, but the truth is that their show succeeding and being as good as it was the key, because that was the breaking point. I mean, I think the audience was, I certainly...
It was the key for audiences, it was the key for networks,
yeah,
it made it easier to sell these shows.
I mean, I think a lot of people were sick of watching what was on television. Mm-hmm. You know, it wasn't speaking to us. And they were stopping those films like, the mid-range dramas that were meant for adults that cost about $30 or $40 million to make, that really were just hardcore dramas. Mm. You know, the Goodfellas of the world, they had stopped making those movies because they weren't making money. So it really was the perfect storm that you guys did that show, and the audience was sitting at home going, wow, it's about time somebody did something with it.
Yeah, I mean, you had the advent of HBO and pay cable, so you had the ability to tell that story honestly. And you had a network that was respectful enough for the audience to say, we're going to assume that people watching this are smart and can take something that might require a little thought. It's not linear storytelling like you normally get on a network. And it was David's Chase's conviction of wanting to be honest completely, not just, again, it goes so much further than the language and the nudity and the stuff. I mean, just an honest depiction of who this guy is, and even the good sides of a character like that. But you early on in the process, and David's talked about this too, I think it was episode 5 of the series, an episode called College, which is a very pivotal episode of the show. Tony Soprano goes to show his daughter Meadow colleges on a tour of the Northeast. He runs into a guy he knows who's a rat in the witness protection program. And in the script, if you've seen it, Tony strangles the guy with his bare hands with a piano wire. And Chris Albrecht, I believe, read this and said, you cannot have the lead of your TV series kill a guy. The audience is going to like him. And David said, if he doesn't kill the guy, the show's over. Then he's not real. And there's a lot of back and forth, and I think there was negotiating, well, what, can Tony shoot him? And David said, no, he's going to strangle him with his hands, and you're going to see it. And everybody was on pins and needles, and that episode was the moment the show took off, because people just were blown away. They went, I've never seen, not only did he kill the guy, then he's in the car with his daughter talking about whether or not she liked the college she just saw, and that was the moment he said, this is real. This is a real show about a real gangster.
I'm interested also if you guys think there's any cultural reasons that we're getting so many great, deeply flawed, borderline evil characters on television right now. You know, TV used to be full of hero doctors and hero cops and hero lawyers, and
cable, for the most part, is not driven by having to please advertisers. So you can tell stories that are a little more disconcerting. David Chase actually said famously, the function of network TV was to reassure people that everything is fine and you should buy this soap. At the end of the hour, we caught the murderer. We know what your medical problem is. It's all going to be okay. And very often on shows like The Sopranos or Rescue Me, you went out at the end of an episode and went, "Wow, everything's not okay. Everything's really fucked up."
Have we matured as a viewing audience that we don't need to be told things are okay anymore? Are we more okay with ambiguity?
Well, some of us are. Let's
Yeah.
not forget there's still, there's
Sure.
13 million people watching sitcoms,
Right.
three-camera sitcoms, and there's
Biggest
still
Loser.
these big, huge cop shows where every
Sure.
week the bad person gets
Right.
caught.
Uh-huh.
So I guess it's just splintered, To me, the guy that was the pinnacle of network television to me was Archie Bunker. And if you watch those first 4 or 5 seasons of that show now on DVD, he walks in the front door. In a recent episode I saw, he walks in the front door and takes his hat off and goes, "Hey, I saw your spics on the train again today." Starts out with the word spick. And then Michael says you can't say spick. You got to, and they have a conversation about literally what you can call different ethnic groups. If you brought that to HBO now, they would still go, "All right, make sure there's a comic." And that was network television.
Yeah,
And it was
yeah.
CBS in its
Right.
heyday. So I just think, I don't know, man. I think it got very politically correct.
Yeah, there's been a slow,
Yeah.
insidious turn toward political correctness over the last. It is, yeah. You see stuff from the '70s, you can't believe
I know.
that was actually on TV and people could handle it. And people woke up on Monday morning after All in the Family was on, and they still went to work, and
I know.
the world continued to function. Yet you would think now, they bleep out the word God on TV. Like what? It's like. What's going to happen if we hear this? I mean,
But you know what? It's okay because I think we're in better circumstances. I think if you want it, you go to HBO or FX or Showtime, wherever it is, and you see something that's edgier. And if you want to go to watch some soap, you can go to the networks. But network television to me is about sports. That's what I watch on network television.
Live programming.
Yeah, I mean, Seinfeld was a brilliant show.
Right.
And that was a show that took chances, but it was not about saying fuck or anything. And so you can still go there and do brilliant programming, I think. I just think your odds are better with an edge if you're in cable, and I think that's where
Well, it's even aside from edginess, it's just the manner in which you tell a story. I mean, the fact that everything doesn't have to be spoon-fed or explained, and characters don't have to say exactly what they're thinking the moment they think it, and characters lie to each other, and I mean this is how human beings interact with each other. Not on network TV. Your note is always it has to be more clear. Say exactly what you mean, and then do a close-up of the thing you just talked about, so the audience knows that that's what you meant. And it's infuriating because it's just such a different way of telling a story. So, again, it's beyond the edge, the nudity, the language. It's the ability to just take risks, and you don't often get that luxury on a network.
Now, if you talk about network versus cable, it also goes back to who your boss is. We were at FX with John Landgraf, and Landgraf, who was a very hands-on guy, and it was the kind of guy, and you know how surprising this is, when he gave us notes, he would give us 3 notes, and 2 of those notes, we would get off the phone and go, why didn't we think of that? As opposed to the normal, which is, I can't believe the fucking shit this guy's saying.
Right.
So John was a guy that was, not only did he read the scripts and react in a really strong and smart way, but he also watched the cuts. He watched the editing process, and he was a true fan of the show. And he was always saying, you guys need to push it a little bit more. Why don't you push it in that direction? Why don't you go in that direction?
Do you think there's any chance that the broadcast networks will follow in the path of cable, that they'll become more open to these kinds of storytelling?
I think they're in a different business. I think they're doing really well with the model they have. They take a cop show and make 8 versions of it, and the same 20 million people presumably watch every 8 version of it, and I don't know why they would. When Sopranos hit, everything was like, we want to do a show about, a department store, but like The Sopranos, or everything was like The Sopranos, or whatever. Now it's, like Mad Men, or, but it's set in a different thing. And then they try it and it fails, or they can't really do it because they're not really committed to doing it the same way, and they go back to doing what they've been doing. So, I don't know. I don't think so.
We might be the smaller part of the audience that you're talking to, and I don't know what you watch, but I watch, the stuff that we're making is
Right,
what I
yeah,
watch. You know what I mean?
exactly. It's a function of 70 years of network TV programmed into their heads. The audiences have watched for decades where, okay, if A happens, then B follows. You can't be bad without getting punished. And it sort of screws with their minds that, okay, watch this, it's not going to all work out in the end. This guy's not going to change. This guy's going to get away with murder.